Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
After sweeping the Astros and moving into the West Division lead, your Rangers will tell you there's a lot more work to be done. With youthful enthusiasm and a veteran-laced lineup, the Rangers continue to race through September. But there's a lot of race left, and it's time to focus on the next opponent, the rival Seattle Mariners. To capture the lead is great. To maintain it is the current challenge. And tonight, they look to get one step closer to the prize. The Rangers and the Mariners begin a 3-game series next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT Uverse TV. Now welcome into Globe Life Park, another breezy and warm late summer's evening. Your Rangers look to keep their September roll going as they welcome in the Seattle Mariners. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Friday night of Ranger baseball. No team hotter in baseball than your Texas Rangers, and they are going to welcome in the Mariners for the first of 3 tonight. And the Rangers have something going that they have not had all year long. Both Adrian Beltre and Prince Fielder tearing the cover off the ball.
They are, Buzz. You know, the Rangers have been playing some really good baseball for quite a while, but we've said it a couple of times. The one thing missing will be for both of these guys to get hot at the same time in the middle of the lineup, and that appears to be happening right now. The Rangers have won 6 out of 7 on this homestand, and the main reason why is the heart of the order. Adrian Beltre and Prince Fielder, both hitting over 400. Together, they've knocked in 19 runs in 7 games, as I said, while the Rangers have won 6 out of 7. So the team's playing great baseball. All facets of the game are clicking, and now the two big guys in the middle of the lineup are hot together.
Well, let's keep it going. It's been fun to watch for these 7 games. They have 3 more on this homestand. The 3 against the Mariners. They're young and old, of all ages, Ranger fans looking for a W here tonight. We'll come back with the Rangers and the Mariners right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. By Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Very comfortable evening. The temperature in the low 90s. Rangers a little bit hotter than that as they get set to do battle against the Seattle Mariners. And before we get things underway, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, as you know, plenty to be happy about concerning this Texas Rangers baseball team right now. But among the things at the top of Jeff Bannister's list, the fact that he's getting contributions from everywhere.
You are just one of the 25, and in this case, you're one of the 37. That you have a part to play, you have a role, and when you're asked to do something, to go out and do it to the best of your ability, and understand that that every little piece, every little spot is dynamic, and that the margin of error this time of year is so crucial. But whatever you bring it to the best of your ability, and we'll celebrate it.
And so it is a relatively simple concept, one to preach at least, but for this team to execute it is quite the different story, and one that makes Jeff Bannister all too proud and makes his job, he says, just a little bit easier, guys.
All right, Emily, thank you. Yeah, it makes the Ranger fans pretty proud, too. That's a nice combination to have going for them. Well, Rangers have taken the field, and Yovani Gallardo out there on the hill tonight, and Tom's going to tell you about the Seattle lineup that he will face.
Well, there's the leadoff hitter, Ketel Marte, the shortstop. The Mariners are 23-16 when he leads off. Kyle Seager will bat second. Nelly Cruz is third. Robinson Cano needs 7 hits for number 2,000. He'll be the cleanup hitter. Mark Trumbo is fifth. Seth Smith, the left fielder, is sixth. Logan Morrison, the first baseman, is seventh. Brad Miller, a .288 hitter in his last 39 games, will bat eighth. And Stephen Barron, the catcher, will bat ninth.
And that lineup will be facing the 29-year-old right-hander Yovani Gallardo, the native of Mexico who grew up in Fort Worth, went to Trimble Tech High School. Our progressive scouting report telling you about Yovani. He's still working on quickening his tempo a bit between pitches. He said still is not where he wants it. And he's also working, he feels in the same vein, on getting deeper into ball games, throwing fewer pitches, and he should be able to make Seattle swing earlier in the count if he can establish that first pitch in the strike zone early in the ball game. This can be a very aggressive swinging ball club, and that would play into Yovani's hands if he can get his command going early. So Gallardo making his 31st start of the year. He now has had 7 straight seasons of 30 or more starts. One of only 2 pitchers as of today that can make that claim. James Shields with San Diego, the other in the major leagues. Now the first pitch of the game to Ketel Marte is high and away for ball 1. Marte steps in hitting at .274, no home runs and 10 driven in. Mariners, as we mentioned, playing very well on the road. They won 5 in a row, 7 out of 9 away from Safeco Field. And ball 2 misses from Gallardo. Mariners come in at 71-76. They are in 4th place in the AL West. They are trailing the Rangers by 8.5 ball games. 2-1. Well, I had to check myself there for a second. 8.5 games trailing, and I almost wanted to say the Astros. It's been so long since I was able to say the Rangers in first place.
It happened pretty quickly.
It did. 2-2. Marte can't get on top of that high fastball. Now the Mariners this year over 500 on the road. They are 37-35. This is the 2nd straight year they've been over 500 away from Seattle. 2-2 pitch. Line to center. The liner to Shields in a hurry to his right. Makes the catch. Boy, Marte hit that pretty solidly. But the liner to Shields, a very good jump to make the grab. Now we'll take a look at the Ranger defense tonight. It's brought to you by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. You saw Delino in center, patrolling out there with the best of them. Shin-Soo Choo in right, only 2 errors in 115 chances since the All-Star break. Mike Napoli, another start in left. Moreland, Odor, Andrews, and Beltray around the infield with Bobby Wilson catching for Yovani Gallardo. Here is Kyle Seager. Yovani pumps in strike one. Seager hitting at .272, 24 home runs, 66 RBI. Not a lot of luck against Gallardo, just 1 for 7. Got him on the fist, and it's 0-2. Nice pitch by Gallardo.
Gallardo's had 10 starts this year, 10 of his 30 starts, in which he has not given up an earned run. 2 of them have been at Seattle. He's pitched against them 3 times this year. 2 of those starts, no earned runs allowed, have been in their ballpark. The other start was here. He gave up 3 runs in that start.
And Seager lines one to center. That's going to fall for a base hit. So on an 0-2 pitch, Seager got one he could get the good part of the bat on, and he has a base hit. What Tom was just talking about, our Kubota power stats. Go back to Yovani Gallardo, those 3 starts against the Mariners this season. 1.56 ERA in the 3 starts. Just 1 extra base hit in 17 1/3 innings and 33 ground balls, 10 fly balls. And that has been a big change for Gallardo this year, especially. He has been above 50% in ground balls allowed, and that's a big change for him. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Nelly Cruz. Strike 1. Cruz tied for the major league lead with 42 home runs. He and Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles at that lofty figure. 88 RBI, and Nelly a .310 average. And he is giving Yovani Gallardo all kinds of fits. He is 6 for 8. Lashes that one foul down the right side. 0-2. Cruz 6 out of 8 against Gallardo with 2 home runs and 3 RBI. And you look at where Nelly is in the top 10 in the American League in slugging, home runs, on base plus slugging, multiple hit games, average, hits, extra base hits, RBI, and if you have a few more categories, you can probably throw those in there too.
And Nelly has 88 runs batted in. That's a solid number, obviously. It's in the top 10 in the league. He'd be a lot higher than that if Cano was hitting earlier in the season, but up until the All-Star break, Cano was only hitting about .235 or .240. He's been hot since then, but Nelly was hitting behind him early in the season, and Cano wasn't on base that much.
Yep.
Seager as well. Seager got off to a fairly slow start too. That's why his RBI total is not higher, because he's been hot pretty much from day one.
Yeah, and the Mariners for so long didn't really have anybody who was producing in the leadoff spot. Ketel Marte they've established there, and Lloyd McClendon was searching the first half of the season for some kind of magic formula to work around Cruz. Just didn't happen. Got him swinging. Cut fastball from Yovani Gallardo. He gets a big strikeout of Nelly Cruz. There are 2 away with Cano coming up.
Yeah, that might be as good a cut fastball as he's thrown all year. Perfectly located at 88 miles an hour. Good pitch.
You keep throwing the ball right there with that cutter, and you're going to get a lot of folks out.
Yep. If you get Nelly Cruz out, you're going to get most of their right-hand hitters out.
Now 2 away. Here's Cano. Robinson a .279 average as he steps to the plate. 16 home runs and 65 RBI. Chopper foul outside first. 0-1. Now Cano has done almost all of his offensive work, the good part of it, since July 1st. 1 out of 8 against Gallardo. But Cano, since the 1st of July, has hit .325 with 12 of his 16 home runs in that span. 1-1. This Cano's 68th game since that 1st of July cutoff figure. 11th consecutive year for Cano with 30 or more doubles. And every year, every full year that he's had in the big leagues. Lines this one to right field. Chu is going to have to back up and play it on a hop. Seager around to third. The throw comes into second. And Cano with a 2-out single. The Mariners now runners at the corners and 2 outs for Mark Trumbo.
The ball got in on Cano a little bit. There was a little bit of a gap out there in right center field, and he found it. Looked like the little cut fastball got in on his fists. Ball didn't really jump off his bat, otherwise it would have rolled all the way to the wall. Just kind of hit, took a little hop. Chu gets it in, first and third, but 2 outs. You get Trumbo right here. No damage to worry about.
Trumbo steps in batting at .254, and that's come up a bit. If you remember when you saw him 10 days ago or so in Seattle, it's not nearly that high. He has done some pretty good work of late. He takes the first pitch for ball 1.
Now, Trumbo's the epitome of a streaky power hitter. You can catch him in the middle of a streak and the line drives are flying off his bat. You can catch him in the other kind of a streak and he's an automatic out.
Checked his swing, and it's a strike anyway. A good cutter.
It might be the best cutter we've seen him throw at 88 miles an hour.
He's got a good one tonight. Trumbo, the last 60 ball games, has done some pretty good work. A .297 average. A good fastball in.
Good combination.
Great combination.
Cutter away, fastball in.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
If you're Trumbo, you've seen both of those pitches. He's taking a deep breath. He's thinking to himself, okay, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got to be ready for the fastball. It sure was a good cutter he threw me down in the way, though.
And I know he's got a curveball in there someplace.
He's going to try to make some contact, put the ball in play.
Seager at third, Cano at first. Gallardo sets the 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Went up with a heater. Trumbo couldn't climb that high. And Gallardo works around a couple of singles in the first. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left after a half inning. Mariners nothing. Rangers coming up. Look, Rangers come to bat, and Tom was going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers order.
There's the leadoff hitter, Delino DeShields. Shin-Soo Choo is batting second. He has a .454 on base percentage since the All-Star game. That's first in the American League. Adrian Beltre has hit .467 on this homestand. He's batting third. Prince Fielder is the cleanup hitter. Mike Napoli in left field will bat fifth. Mitch Moreland is hitting sixth. Elvis Andrus, 9 stolen bases in his last 21 games. He's in the 7th spot. Rougned Odor is 8th, and the catcher Bobby Wilson is batting 9th.
And that's Jeff Bannister's lineup that will face the 26-year-old southpaw from Lander, British Columbia, James Paxton. Paxton at 6 feet 4 inches tall, goes about 230 pounds or so. Coming off the disabled list, he had a injured tendon in his middle finger of his pitching hand that kept him on the shelf for the better part of 2 months. Back down and throwing the ball extremely well, working to Delino. And ball 2 is high. Delino steps in batting at .253 with a couple of home runs, 28 driven in. Well, he had a fastball to work with there, and it's 2-1. Rangers will see James Paxton throw that good fastball. He comes pretty much over the top with it. A big overhand curveball, an occasional changeup. If his command is good, he can be as tough as any left-hander. That is in at the knees. 2-2. Get a big, tall guy like that throwing downhill from over the top. I wouldn't imagine it looks like that ball stays in the strike zone very long. Call strike 3.
Looks like it gets in there on the hitter pretty quick, too.
Delino would agree with you. He's caught looking. With 1 out now, Shin-Soo Choo's coming up. We'll take a look at the Mariner defense tonight behind James Paxton. Outfield is Smith, Miller, and Trumbo. Infield, Logan Morrison, one of the better fielding first basemen in the American League. Just third among American League first basemen with the glove. Cano and Marte up the middle, Seager at third, and Stephen Barrett getting his start. He made his major league debut against the Rangers when Rangers were in Seattle 10 days ago. Shin-Soo Choo, what else is new? Bangs that first pitch right back through the middle for a base hit.
He can at least take a pitch so we can watch him hit for a while. Yeah, you talk about some ropes. That's one thing to kind of keep track of in this ball game with Paxton. In his career, left-hand hitters have hit 100 points higher than right-hand hitters.
Yep.
It's even more dramatic this year. Right off the bat, a left-hand hitter steps up, takes a low fastball, and drives it right over Paxton's head into center field. No doubt about that one.
Yeah, and the Rangers would be well advised, too, to try and get his pitch count up early if they possibly can. He's on a pretty hard pitch count coming back from that finger injury. He was at 85 last time, and the Mariners don't seem inclined to increase that by much. 1 on, 1 out. Beltre taking strike 1. Adrian at .273. That's as high as he has been all year with a batting average. 15 home runs, 59 RBI. He has treated James Paxton rather rudely, though. 3 for 6 is Adrian Beltre in past matchups. For Shin-Soo Choo, by the way, that was the first hit that Choo had against Paxton. He's now 1 for 3. Line drive, base hit to right field. Choo to second will stop there. Trumbo gets the ball back in. Back-to-back singles. I think the Rangers have carried over what they started about 7 days ago here at home.
Well, one thing they've been doing at home is scoring early in the ball games. Saw that all series long against the Astros. We kind of featured Adrian and Prince in the pregame show. What they've done in this homestand. And hopefully Prince will stay hot in the first inning as well.
Big breaking ball, and that dips in to Prince Fielder. Fielder at .313, 21 home runs, 83 driven in. He has enjoyed his time against James Paxton, 4 for 5. And he's hitting with Choo at second, Beltre at first. 0-2. Well, you've seen both of them, both the fastball and the curveball. Prince with 3 home runs in his last 4 games. That snapped a streak in which he'd gone 46 at-bats without a long ball. In the dirt, and that gets away from Barron. Well, the runners advance 90 feet. Choo to third, Beltre to second on the wild pitch.
Just pulled that curveball right straight into the ground in front of home plate. Barron's lucky that ball stayed right in front of him.
Yeah.
He never would have gotten it in time.
See the problem with that curveball bouncing out in front of home plate. Barron went down to block and it almost jumped over his shoulder. A 1-2 to Fielder. Got him swinging. A good tailing fastball at 95 from Paxton. That is out number 2. And it'll bring up Mike Napoli.
The catcher wants the ball in. He looked like he had his glove a little higher than that. The result was exactly what Paxton was hoping for, though, with men on second and third and only one out. He was going for the strikeout, looking for the strikeout, trying to keep a run from scoring.
Well, Paxton with 2 outs now will continue to work from the stretch. Runners at second and third. Napoli, .296 average as a Ranger this year. 1 ball, no strikes. Mike with 4 home runs, 7 driven in. Covering 24 ball games with the Rangers for Napoli. And as we've told you, one of the big reasons that the Rangers brought Napoli back was to get him in there against left-handers. He's hit .368 against southpaws in his time with the Rangers this time. Off speed and over. It is 1-1. Napoli overall, .219 hitter. That goes back, including his time in Boston. 17 home runs for the year. 47 driven in. 1-1 pitch. Now 2-1. Barron being put through a crash course on blocking balls with runners at third base by James Paxton. Napoli back in the box. He is ready to work. So is Paxton. The 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. Now Napoli gets aboard to extend this inning. Mitch Moreland, the Ranger first baseman, will follow. Beltre is lead from second. He's trailing Chu over at third. Inside, ball 4. That'll load him up for Moreland. Well, Paxton in some early hot water, and he's had a couple of strikeouts in the inning. That's accounted for both the outs. He's also given up 2 hits and a walk. Mitch coming to the plate, batting at .283. He is tied with Prince Fielder for 21 home runs for the top spot on the Ranger club.
And Paxton's first start back from the disabled list is his only start back. Threw 66 pitches and only pitched 3 innings.
First pitch is in for a strike.
That's a tough pitch right there. First pitch, get behind in the count 0-1 on that pitch. It changes the at-bat a little bit.
Paxton from the set. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Oh, he's definitely not hanging that curveball. That's for sure.
No, he's not. Saw the number on Mitch. 6 of his last 7 hits have gone for extra bases, 3 home runs and 3 doubles. Already has a career high 77 RBI. He'd love to add some more. 1-2. Shin-Soo Choo led or I should say had a base hit with 1 out. Adrian Beltre followed with a single. And then 1 out later, Mike Napoli drew the walk. They were at third, second, and first. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Got that one there at 97 miles an hour. He's giving it his best fastball now with the bases loaded.
Paxton okays the sign from Barron. Little chopper foul at the plate. We'll try it again. That start that Tom told you about last time out was against Colorado. He was only able to work 3 innings, was James Paxton. He had 3 walks in the game. He also had 4 strikeouts. Dealing here to Mitch Marler with the bases full in the first inning. Got him swinging. Paxton ends up striking out the side. The Rangers fill the bases, but leave them loaded. We played one at Globe Life Park in Arlington. We are scoreless. Just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself on one of our upcoming broadcasts. All this brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. We will show you tonight's selection a little bit later on in the ball game. Now we go to the top of the second inning, and Yovani Gallardo back to the hill. Yovani gave up a couple of hits in the first inning, but also had a couple of strikeouts. Left those 2 runners stranded. He'll face Seth Smith to start things off. Smith, Morrison, and Miller. First pitch to the left fielder, Seth Smith, is strike 1. Smith, a .250 hitter with 11 home runs and 40 driven in. One ball and 1 strike. Smith and Gallardo, no strangers to each other. And Smith has had very little luck against Giovanni in the past, just 3 for 24.
Giovanni's making some good pitches tonight. Mixed in a changeup, really good cutter, high fastball, struck out Trumbo.
One ball, 2 strikes. Kind of spiked that one out in front of home plate, 2-2. And it looks like he's picked up the tempo a little bit, at least with nobody on base. Cutting down a little bit between the time between pitches. Getting the ball and ready to go pretty much. Got him swinging. Foul tipped into the glove of Bobby Wilson. That's strikeout number 3 for Gallardo. One away, Logan Morrison coming up. We're going to welcome in Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Hey, Rugen and Adore lookalike in the stands. Check this out. Turn around real quick. Hurry, guys, hurry. Hey, not bad, huh, Buzz and Tom? Not bad. All right. Let's talk about the grant program. Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation recognized baseball and softball winners of the grants. Texas Baseball Foundation delivered that yesterday. They're going to use the money to help their fields, equipment, and all that great stuff. Congratulations to those guys. To find out more information, log on to texasrangers.com/foundation. Not bad. Huh?
Thanks, Knoxy. Logan Morrison took the first pitch high for ball 1. Morrison just a .225 average, but he has 16 home runs. Takes ball 2. Morrison, along with 16 home runs, has driven in 50. Just 1 for 18 in his career against Giovanni Gallardo. 2-0 pitch. And that is outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Giovanni, who has not walked a hitter tonight, falling behind Morrison. Morrison hitting 7th. Be followed by the center fielder, Brad Miller. Three and 1. Rangers in an extreme overshift. They have 3 defenders on the right side of the infield, with Rougned Odor playing the rover position out in right field, and Adrian Beltre, more toward the shortstop spot than his third base position. Hard hit, but pulled foul, and that fills the count. Morrison, one of the veteran hitters on this Seattle ball club, and it was such a disappointment for them earlier this year. They just couldn't get it going. They had, when they brought Trumbo over in June, they felt they were one right-handed hitter away from having a pretty solid lineup, and that really hasn't proven to be right. Outside, ball 4. Morrison draws the walk. Whatever the Mariners tried to do offensively just did not pan out, and it ended up costing Jack Durencic, their general manager, his job. He was let go 2 weeks ago.
Well, it really looked to a lot of baseball experts like Jack Durencic and the Mariners had put together a very good ball club in the offseason. Every time you listened to a baseball show, the experts were predicting that Seattle would go to the postseason and maybe do very well in the postseason. So they're basing that on the talent they saw in the ball club. Definitely had some talent, but you're right, Buzz. It just didn't click for him. Yeah. Not much you can do when Cano hits .230 of the first half of the season. Trumbo had an extremely cold streak when he first got here. It's been a little bit hotter lately. Morrison wasn't hitting much. He's been hitting better lately, and they're scoring a lot of runs right now, playing some pretty good baseball. They're 10-5 in September, playing good baseball.
And they also had to deal with not having Hisashi Iwakuma for the first couple of months. He missed the opening bell. He was on the disabled list.
Fernando Rodney
getting
anybody out.
Yep.
Now their bullpen's pretty solid. They got some good, hard-throwing young pitchers out there in the bullpen now.
Low and outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, Brad Miller, a .250 hitter, but just 3 hits in his last 20 times to the plate. 9 home runs, 41 driven in. Miller 1 for 5 in previous matchups against Gallardo. Well, Giovanni with a walk to walk to Logan Morrison on a 3-2 pitch. And he's fallen behind now to Brad Miller at 2 balls and a strike. Out of play down the left side, and the count evens. One of the things I know Giovanni had mentioned a couple of starts ago was that felt he wasn't being aggressive enough, and that was one of the reasons why guys were not swinging as much as he would like early in the count. And he said he was making a concerted effort to be more aggressive, to get ahead quickly, and hopefully they start putting the ball in play a little sooner. And you see the last 2 hitters where he's kind of gotten back to that rut that he had been in. Down the left side, it's in right inside the bag for a base hit. Napoli will play the carom. To third base goes Morrison. Into second with an opposite field double is Brad Miller. And the Mariners runners at second and third, and just 1 out for Stephen Barron.
Number 10, Steve Barron.
High fastball. You can see what he does with it. Doesn't do much with it, but he sure hits it in the right spot. And probably a good thing that it hit that little corner and bounced straight out to Knapp. Otherwise, might have gone down in the corner and been a triple. Scored Morrison.
Well, second and third with one out. Stephen Barron at the plate. Rangers will play the infield back. They will give up the run, 4 and out. And Barron fouls it back for strike 1. Ranger defense, with the exception of Beltre and Moreland, playing all the way back. Mitch a couple of steps behind the bag, as is Adrian. Barron made his major league debut against the Rangers back on the 9th of September up in Seattle. Went 0 for 4 that day with a couple of double play grounders. And Giovanni Gallardo has him right where he wants him now. No balls and 2 strikes. Giovanni in a position where he can go for the strikeout here.
Yeah, Barron's been up 6 times, hasn't struck out yet. Now would be a great time for the first one. Paxton got a big strikeout. Similar situation.
Yep. Giovanni okays the sign, the 0-2 pitch. Tried to get him to go after that cut fastball and wasn't quite close enough. I think if you throw that same pitch and make it about 2 inches closer to the plate, you'll get a strikeout.
He laid off one, but if it's a little closer, I don't think he'll lay off it again.
Good look here at Globe Life Park. The twilight is just about out of the way. Call strike 3. He went the other side. Paid at the inside corner. Barron caught looking. That's out number 2.
Well, both pitchers early in the game get big strikeouts with 1 out and men at second and third. Right on the inside corner, right where he was trying to throw it. After that cut fastball down and away, came back inside and caught the corner.
No, 2 outs now. Back to the top of the order. Ketel Marte. Line to center his first time. He takes a high strike. 0-1. Marte, a switch hitter. Hit the ball right on the nose his first time, but Delino to Shields made a nice running catch in left center. 0-1 pitch to him. 0-2. Looked like a straight changeup.
Yeah, 85 miles an hour. Took a little bit off his fastball. His fastball's been 88 to 90. Boy, the way Marte swung at it definitely was slower than he was looking for.
Crowd now getting into it. The 0-2 pitch. Down the third base line, a fair ball right over the bag. That's going to score. 2 men into second. Goes Marte with a shank double.
Man, I think a couple of great pitches, get ahead in the count. Make another pretty good pitch. Jam him. A little dinky ground ball that just barely stayed fair.
Now this has got to you can't challenge this because it has to be beyond the umpire where the umpire is stationed, which is generally right back of the infield, the far edge of the infield dirt. Whether the ball went over the bag or not is not a challengeable play, at least the way it was explained to us. Fair or foul has to be beyond where the umpire is down there, past the bag at third. And that ball hugging the line. Third base umpire Chris Guccione.
It's a fair ball.
Right on top of it. He said that's a fair ball when it went over the bag.
Sure looked like it.
Yep.
You know, the way he sliced that ball, I can't believe it didn't spin foul.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister's gotten run. Jeff getting his money's worth after Chris Guccione said it had enough.
They've had 2 hits in this inning. Both of them have been very similar. Left-hand hitters just sneaking little ground balls inside the third base bag for doubles.
And Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire and crew chief, explaining the facts of the ejection to Jeff Bannister, who's continued to plead his case. Well, Jeff will have to vacate the bench and head upstairs.
It just looked like this ball the way it was spinning was going to go from right to left. It never did. It just hugs the line, stays right on. It looked like it came back to the right a little bit.
Sure does.
It looked like it was for certain going to kick left of the bag. I don't know if it hit a little nick in the dirt or whatever, but it came back slightly to the right.
No, it's a 2-0 Seattle lead. And Kyle Seager takes strike one from Yovani Gallardo. Seager had a base hit to center his first time to the plate. A .273 average. Seager, as we mentioned, in this ballpark, he becomes Babe Ruth. 1-1. Seager, for his career before that last hit, was hitting .344 here in 40 career games at Globe Life Park. 15 doubles, 7 home runs in 40 games. Off the end of the bat, that will bounce one time and head into the seats, and kind of a derisive cheer for the third base umpire. Fans getting on Chris Guccione a little bit. One and two to Seager. And another foul ball. Major League rankings against the Rangers since 2013. Kyle Seager's first in hits, first in home runs, a dozen home runs, first in extra base hits, tied for first with Mike Trout with 39 RBI. That is a real thorn in the side. Gallardo and Bobby Wilson not together on the signs. Now Yovani has one. Another 1-2 pitch. To left field. Mike Napoli in and toward the line. That's going to fall for a base hit. In to score is Marte. Seager just dumps a little flare into left field for the RBI single. It's a 3-0 Seattle lead.
Not much you can do about that, except say that the leadoff walk is what started the inning off. But all 3 singles softly hit little flares into left field. It really doesn't matter how Seager hits it. The ball's going to find grass one way or the other.
Well, Mike Maddox out there to trying to give Yovani a little chance to catch his breath. Seager now 2 for 2 tonight with an RBI, his 67th run driven in this year. Well, 3 runs across on a walk and 3 hits. Now Nelson Cruz steps in. Cruz went down swinging the first time that he faced Gallardo tonight. Ball 1. Remember, Nelly Cruz was out for the first 3 games of that 4-game series when the Rangers were in Seattle. Had a quad strain. Still can't play in the outfield. They have not pushed it. He has been doing some work prior to each game to test it. And he's not quite ready to get back out there. 26 of his 42 home runs have come away from Seattle. 2-1.
I think I said leadoff walk. There was 1 out when Morrison walked. Started the rally, though. Nobody on base when he did walk.
Two and 1 the count. Seager getting his lead from first. Cruz waiting at the plate. Beltre will cut it off. On to first, and that'll do it. But the horse is already out of the barn before the gate gets closed. 3 runs on 3 hits, and 1 man left after 1.5. 3-0 Seattle. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Pay a visit to your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers have a 3-0 hole to climb out of as they come to bat here in the second inning. Bottom third of the Ranger order, Elvis Andrus, Rougned Odor, and Bobby Wilson to face James Paxton. Elvis steps in batting at .257. His 6 home runs, 55 driven in. And Paxton deals strike one. Elvis, you remember, snapped down to that 0 for 22 drought that he was in earlier in this homestand. He's now gone 7 for his last 22 since getting that drought buster. Also 20 stolen bases again this year. His 7th consecutive season of 20 or more stolen bases. That's a continuing Ranger record. Last player to do that in 7 seasons, the first 7 seasons, Ichiro. 2-2 now the count to Elvis. Chopper out toward Marte. 1 gone. Next will be Rougned Odor. Well, the Rangers come in having won 5 in a row. All of them here at home. They won 6 of 7 on this homestand. Are now 38 and 35 here at home by virtue of going 22 and 5 since the end of July. Rangers also 12 games over 500s for the first time since the end of the 2013 season. .1-0 pitch to Odor. Now 2-0. This is also the biggest lead, the 2.5 game lead. Largest lead the Rangers have had in September since 2012. Sharply hit ball, but Morrison, slick fielding first baseman, takes it to the bag. That's out number 2. No bases empty, 2 away for Bobby Wilson. Wilson in a Ranger uniform, hitting .242 this year. Came in last night, had a RBI double in his only at bat. Took over for Chris Jimenez late in the ball game. Out to Cano at second. Little sidearm flip to first. That'll do it. Rangers 3 ground balls and 3 quick outs here in the second inning. We finished 2 at Globe Life Park. It's the Mariners 3 and the Rangers nothing. And MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. You get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a lot more. Just visit MLB.TV today. Robinson Cano leading off here in the third inning. He loops a little drive that Elvis Andrews able to move to his right and corral for out number one.
And finally, a softly hit ball toward the left side of the diamond turns into an out. Buzz, you remember the other day? Well, we'll watch the replay first. The other day we were talking about, I don't know which player it was, but he had a look on his face like those toys you had when you were a kid, that when you squeezed them, the eyes and the ears popped out. Well, Brent Cooper from Fort Wayne, Indiana must have been listening that night, because he sent me Panic Pete. Let me show you Panic Pete. You squeeze them, and the mouth and the eyes and the ears open up.
That's who we saw the other night.
That's the player, Panic Pete. Brent, thanks for watching that night, and more than that, thank you for Panic Pete. We're going to keep that up in the booth. Love that. Hear that? I'll bring it home, give it to my grandkids. They'll like it too.
That might come in handy here one of these nights.
You know, it doesn't really matter what it is. If you mention it, someone's going to find it and send it to you.
Yeah.
Years back, I don't know how we got talking about Kleenex boxes, but before you know it, about 10 of these beautifully homemade fashioned Kleenex boxes appeared over time. Now I don't know what you call those little toys. That one's called Panic Pete.
I call them funny myself.
It is pretty funny.
Well, Mark Trumbo, an opposite field single. That falls in. So he is aboard with one out. And Seth Smith is coming up. I want to send a shout out to a big Ranger fan, Winona Dubois, who's 90 years old, and she never misses a Ranger game. Said she's pulling for the Rangers to make it through the rest of the year into the playoffs. She's got her seat already picked out where she's going to watch the Ranger playoff game from. So Winona, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and thank you for being such a great Ranger fan over the years. Said Mike Napoli and Mitch Moreland are her favorites. They've been doing pretty good lately.
They sure have.
A 1-on, 1-out. Smith, a strikeout. His first at bat against Giovanni Gallardo. Takes that next pitch low. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Smith now a 249 average. Rangers defend Smith slightly around to the right on the infield. Outfield is just about straight away. Get a good look. The outfielders pretty much where you would expect them to be put in the scorebook. Smith couldn't stop his swing, and it's a strike to make it 2-1. Well, Giovanni now approaching 60 pitches, so they're trying to get through the first few innings and keep his pitch count manageable. That's going to help get the double play. Odor, Andrews, Morgan.
They went hard. Look what happens.
There you go. 4-6-3, and that takes care of the Mariners in the third. No runs a hit, and nobody left thanks to the twin killing. After 2.5, 3-0 Seattle. tomorrow in a post-game concert that's sure to rock the ballpark. Go to TexasRangers.com/concerts. You can get your tickets to see the Rangers and the Mariners, and stick around after the game to enjoy the Pat Green concert. Nice crowd on hand here on this Friday night. A very comfortable evening. Temperature right at 90 degrees. And Rangers trying to cool off the hot Mariners, or at least the road version of the Mariners. Top of the order now, Delino to Shields. Takes a strike as he ran up as if to bunt. Delino called out on strikes as he led the ball game off for the Rangers here tonight. In case you missed it, Jeff Bannister has already been ejected in this ball game, arguing a fair foul ball down the third base line.
Well, he's bounced about 5 or 6 curveballs. Bounced one where the runners moved up. Needed the other one with the bases loaded. That one bounced farther out in front of home plate than the other ones, right over the catcher's head.
Sharply hit. Ooh, that ball came up on Marte. He stayed with it nicely and throws out Delino. One out. Shin-Soo Choo coming up. First of all, we're going to send it over to John Radigan for a Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you. Shin-Soo Choo steps in, 1 for 1 tonight. Saw the first pitch from James Paxton, liked it so much he sent it into center field for a single. Choo now at 268 with the average. And another line drive. This one gets by Marte.
That ball was hit so hard Marte couldn't even get a glove on it. I would see the replay on that, whether it was over his head or whether it went by the side of his glove.
I think it went by the side of his glove.
That ball was hit so hard with slicing action, he couldn't even touch it with his glove.
That it went between his glove and his head.
Hard to tell, but yeah. He's ducking. Let's put it this way, he's ducking out of the way of it. Man.
Now that is a rope.
Choo now is 9 for his last 11 and a walk. Has been on in his last 12 plate appearances.
That's pretty good, huh?
And those aren't little dribblers through the infield or little ground balls down the third baseline or little bloopers in front of the left fielder. These are ropes that he's hitting.
0-1 to Beltre. Now 1 ball and 1 strike. Adrian had a solid base hit to right field his first time up there. Rangers trailing 3-0, trying to have at least a partial answer here in the third inning. 1 on, 1 out. Beltre after that base hit at 275 with the average. Paxton sets a check of Choo. Choo going to try for second. The throw is wide. Barron came up with it and almost threw it into left center field.
It wasn't that far away from Barron, and he picked it up in time maybe to get Choo if he made a perfect throw, but Choo put the pressure on him. He made him make that throw. Barron rushed his throw, pulled it to the left, and Choo's in scoring position now. We're talking about how well Shin-Soo is hitting the ball compared to earlier in the year. Earlier in the year, he might not have taken that extra base on that ball in the dirt. You know, he was more tentative on the bases than he is right now. Everything's in a nice flow for him right now.
I agree. Defensively, he's much more solid, making better decisions. He is. Well, we've said it before, Tom. He is the player the Rangers had envisioned when they signed him that big free agent contract before last year.
Yep.
3-1 to Beltre. Adrian waiting. Paxton to him. Low ball 4. And there are 2 on with 1 out for Prince Fielder. And let's check in with Emily Jones. Em?
Well, you guys have talked about it before. The conversation that Shin-Soo Choo had with his wife over the All-Star break about really slowing things down, simplifying the game. And he says that's made all the difference here in the second half.
just after All-Star break, just changing a little bit of mind, just like baby step, not just one game, not just one at bat, just every pitch, and every pitch gets, focus, that's skipped on sniper focus, that's help, see a lot of pitches, seeing a good pitches to hit, that's everything coming confidence, defense, special, so that's how I am.
It's obviously working for Shin-Soo Choo, and he says it's just a matter of, not trying to fix everything at one time. Like he said, those baby steps, it's given him the confidence that he had previously in his career, and he's not battling himself so much as he was in the first half, guys.
Good stuff. That's a great point that he brings up, not trying to fix a bunch of different things at one time.
Well, Prince swung at one, and the next one was called a strike. I would dare to venture if Paxton throws that pitch to the left-hand hitters for the rest of the game, they're going to be having a difficult time hitting him if it's called a strike.
And he gets Prince on a big breaking ball. Second time that Fielder has gone down on strikes. There are two gone now, and Mike Napoli comes out. Fourth strikeout for James Paxton. Knapp steps in, having walked his first time to the plate. Napoli making his fifth start this evening in left field, the first time that he had ever been in the outfield as a professional. Got Jew at second, Beltre at first. 2 outs, Rangers down by 3 runs. Ball 1. Against left-handers this year, Mike Napoli 7 home runs and an .845 on-base plus slugging in 113 plate appearances. 2 balls, no strikes. Paxton apparently very well aware of Mike Napoli's dislike of left-handers.
Well, Knapp came up last inning, second and third, 2 men on. First base was open. Paxton really didn't come close to throwing him anything to hit. First base isn't open, 2 men on though in a 3-run game. He's going out of his way not to give him anything good to hit in this at bat so far as well.
And Napoli pops it up. Shallow right field, long run in for Trumbo. He stays with it, makes the catch, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, 2 men are left for the Rangers. We have finished 3 at Globe Life Park. Mariners 3, Rangers nothing. Forces Network, American Forces Network, broadcasting to U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome all of you and thank you for your service. Well, Yovani Gallardo back to the hill. He is starting the 4th inning now by facing the bottom third of the Seattle order. Logan Morrison, Brad Miller, and Stephen Barrett. First pitch fouled back our way, and joining us in the booth now. It's that time of the ballgame. Here's Mark McLemore, the doctor of defense.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm well. How
Good.
are you guys?
Good. Did you bring some runs with you?
I brought some runs.
Okay.
So let's, spread them out there.
All right.
Just get them over the net.
Well, wait for half an inning.
Oh, yeah.
Over the net?
Yeah.
I would say, no, you couldn't get it that far, but I know very good and well you can now. You guys proved it to me.
Oh, my goodness.
Both of you.
Have you seen the replay of that, Mac?
I haven't. Did you see
Pretty
it?
impressive, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Not my part. Your part was very impressive.
I have an idea we're going to see part of that here sometime this evening.
Oh, my goodness.
Morrison fouling that pitch back, still 0-2. How was, did you try and brush your teeth a little more gently after that? Or?
I used the electric one.
Did you? Okay. Right.
Used the left hand and got it up there. That was about it.
I remember not being able to reach the back of my head to comb my hair after a few of those things.
Yeah, that could be tough.
That's why I didn't do it the other day.
That could be tough.
Yeah. Another 0-2 pitch and another foul ball. How about you, Tom? Did you come up sore?
I was worried the whole game that was going to happen, but I never felt a thing the next day.
Good.
Which I can't believe.
Well, I guess it's good.
Maybe I didn't throw it hard enough.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe you're
felt
beyond.
like I was throwing it as hard as I could.
Well,
I was throwing it as hard as I could. It just wasn't going very far.
I know the feeling.
Well, it's a little bit of a different throw in this, out of this window here.
Well, you can't throw it overhand.
Right.
You did have to throw it sidearm.
Little lip line drive out to Odor. Morrison is retired out number 1.
And actually, half the throws you threw in the big leagues were probably
That's
sidearm.
true.
weren't
So,
they?
yeah, they were right there.
That was kind of your sweet spot.
I didn't want to say anything, but it probably would have hurt if I had thrown over the top.
It took me about 5 or 10 seconds just to figure out how I was going to do it.
I was just turning a double play. That was it.
Well, that one you threw, Tom, I was a little worried you were going to fall out of the booth. You got a lot of momentum going.
I knew I had to follow through to keep the shoulder from just falling off. And you hear that the ball, a pitcher wants to let go of the ball as close to the plate as he can. I was just trying to let go of it as close to the mound as I could from up here. I was a little bit surprised for one thing, though, that Pudge from home plate couldn't throw it into the booth. Not couldn't, didn't.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to take one throw and throw it right to us.
Yeah, he hit the window one time.
Yeah, he hit the window.
So that was close. It's a lot harder going from down there up here, though.
Yeah, but it's Pudge Rodriguez. It's not Mark McLemore, Steve Busby, or Tom. That's Pudge Rodriguez throwing.
I kind of envisioned him uncorking one throw and having it going through the back of the back wall.
I envisioned having to duck out of the way.
Here's a strike to Brad Miller. It's 2-1. Here's a little bit of that. Ooh.
Right now I'm thinking, thank God it got over the screen.
Yeah. Little pop-up in foul territory, and that's going to...
It was actually from up here, Mac, never having thrown a ball from here before. Hard to tell exactly where you could throw one.
Yeah,
Did you know you're going to be able to throw one that far?
I felt I would be able to get it to home plate and it might be able to roll to the mound.
Yeah.
I didn't really think I'd, get it to the mound, but once I did, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You threw that. You threw one about 20 feet past the mound. That's pretty good. You might be able to throw someone out at second base from up here if you really got loose.
I think if I was able to throw it over the top, I probably could.
Yeah.
2-2 pitch. Odor on to first, 2 gone.
Tough hop. He ate that one up, made that look really easy.
And let's go check in with Jim Knox.
All right, Buzz, appreciate it. A big night for some of the Texas Rangers season ticket holders, 25-year season ticket holders, recognized before the game. Vicky, along with her husband, Jay Gustafson. Hey, they've been long-time season ticket holders for 40 years. How did it all get started?
Well, it's very exciting. My mother loves the Rangers, and so my dad got the seats for her and then also for their business. And what's really exciting is we started one of our first dates here, and so we've been having date night, every time here at the Ranger Ballpark.
Congratulations. Chu makes the final out. Buzz, back to you. Good to have you guys out here for 40 years. Buzz?
All right, Nazi, thank you. Well, a 3 up, 3 down. Very quick inning for Yolandi Gallardo and the Rangers. After 3.5, it's still the Mariners by 3. A post-game fireworks show. Fans attending the game against the division rival Los Angeles Angels will be treated to a post-game fireworks show themed to your favorite spooky music. Get the countdown going to Halloween. Discounted tickets are available at TexasRangers.com using the online coupon code FIREWORKS. Well, Mitch Moreland to start things off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. James Paxton has limited the Rangers to 3 hits. 2 of those hits by Shin-Soo Choo. As a matter of fact, Choo and Beltre have been on base 4 times between them. Rangers have only had 5 men on base altogether. Moreland takes outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Mitch, a strikeout in the 1st inning. And 3-0 the count. Well, Moreland trying to lead off to get aboard here in the 4th inning. The Rangers have not had their leadoff man aboard, Elvis Andrus. The Rangers shortstop is waiting. 3-0 pitch. 3-1. Pitch a .282 average as he faces Paxton. Ooh. I think he'd like to have a do-over on that one.
He's just missed a couple of those tonight.
Saw Mitch take a ball out to left field last night. An absolute rocket. Fouls that one into and out of the glove of Stephen Barrett and stays alive. Rangers moving on up the ladder in as far as team numbers in the American League. They're now 5th with a .322 on base percentage. Payoff pitch, called strike 3.
That pitch got even close.
Mitch Moreland agrees with you, Tom. Dropped everything right at home plate, including his teeth.
Shortstop, Elvis
bat's not long enough to reach that thing. Wow.
One away, and Elvis comes up. Elvis grounded out to his counterpart, Ketel Marte, the first time up. Paxton, by the way, now has 5 strikeouts.
He's got a chance for a lot more if that pitch is a strike.
Elvis at 256. On this homestand, Elvis hitting about right at 250. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rangers' other offensive numbers, 256, the team batting average. That's good for 6th in the American League. Now they're 4th in runs scored with 655. They have moved to the 7th position with 154 home runs after having 10 home runs against the Houston Astros. Seager knocks it down, but he won't have a play. That'll be a base hit for Elvis.
Elvis smoked that.
Yep.
Seager's made a lot of good plays against the Rangers. He's got a lot of hits against the Rangers. He made a lot of good plays at third base against the Rangers.
Surprised he'd make that one.
Yeah, him too. Got the glove on it. Got most of the glove on it. Looked like it was almost going to stick in his glove. No, hit off the side of his glove. And then his body.
Little pinball action. Well, the Rangers have their 4th hit. Elvis aboard with 1 out. Rougned Odor takes ball 1. Odor hit the ball sharply, but right at the first baseman, Logan Morrison, his first time. 273 the average for the Rangers second baseman. Chopper over the mound, right at the bag at second. Easy play for Ketel Marte. He turns it into a 6-3 double play, and the Rangers are gone in the 4th. No runs a hit, nobody left. After 4, Mariners 3, the Rangers nothing. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Back at Globe Life Park, Mariners leading the Rangers 3-0. They have out-hit Texas 6-4. Giovanni Gallardo dealing to the top of the order. Ketel Marte takes inside, ball 1. Marte had the big blow in that second inning. He had a 2-run double right down the third base line. I mean, right down it on the chalk.
I still can't believe that ball stayed fair.
It was sliced, and it looked like it was going to go well into foul territory. And I'm with you, Tom. I think it had to have hit something and
had
kicked
to.
it back a little bit.
It not only stayed straight, it actually looked like it came back a little bit.
It's one of those backup sliders.
Man, that was pretty effective. Wasn't hit very hard, but it scored 2 runs.
Yep, sure did. 2-1 the count. Acting skipper Steve Buechele. In case you missed it earlier, Jeff Bannister on that play we were just talking about was ejected by Chris Guccione, the third base umpire, for arguing. Marte, a drive to right field. Chu is going back. It's over his head. Off the base of the wall. Marte at second will put the brakes on. As Delino DeShields gets the ball back in. Marte with his second double of the night. This one a blistered gapper to right center.
Well, the Mariners may have found themselves a nice leadoff hitter. He's played excellent shortstop against the Rangers. He made that beautiful play against Elvis in Seattle with the bases loaded. Turned it into a double play. And they've played very well with him as the leadoff hitter. They've gone 23-16 since he's been the leadoff hitter. Getting on base about 35% of the time right now. Can also play center field, second base. But young, developing shortstop who can lead off. Pretty valuable guy.
Well, Marte at second, nobody out. Here's Kyle Seager, who is 2 for 2. A pair of singles, one of them driving in a run, and he hits a fly ball down the right field line. Chu in pursuit into the corner, and that ball is foul. Chu right up against the padding, ran out of room. Not very deep down that right field line, just 325 into the corner. Chu going into the defensive slide so he didn't run face first into that padding. 0-1 the count to Seager. Seager, after those 2 hits now, is up to 274 with his batting average. Fastball off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gallardo okays the sign, check second. And that ball is foul out of the reach of Mitch Moreland.
I got a question for you guys. I've always wondered this. You have a guy, take Seager. He just absolutely wears us out. There's somebody or some team that he doesn't hit well against. Wouldn't you, as a pitcher or a team, say, hey, what does that team do that we don't do?
Yeah, you would.
And then maybe try and pitch him that way.
Yeah, I don't know, Mac. I would have to think that we've tried to pitch him about every way you can possibly pitch him. And it's just one of those statistical deals where, you face 14 or 15 teams. You're not going to hit 270 against every team. Some teams you're going to hit 350 against. Some teams you're going to hit 250 against. And the way that analytics are used today, and video is used today, I would have to think that they do that. He just, it's not like every ball he hits is a rope. Today he's hit a soft line drive to center, a little blooper to left. You just wait for the year where he goes, like 10 for 62 against the Rangers, but so far it hasn't happened.
It hasn't.
Well, with Nelly Cruz up there, Rangers now pull their infield all the way in. Marte, the runner at third, just 1 out here in the 5th inning. Cruz has grounded to third and struck out. 0-1. I wouldn't think with Cruz up there, being an infielder playing all the way in would be a very comfortable spot.
I have to agree with you on that.
Be checking my dental insurance policy to make sure I'm covered. Got him on the fist. Nice pitch by Giovanni Gallardo. Chris Guccione, the third base umpire, hearing it from the Ranger faithful.
Fans don't forget, do they?
Nope. The 0-2 to Cruz.
Beltre's the smart one in this infield. He's not going to be in on the grass. Not with Nelly out. He's going to give him as much room as he possibly can, because if he pulls it over there, you better believe it's coming pretty hard.
Yep. In the dirt, nice stop by Bobby Wilson, and that was not a very easy play for him to make that ball bounce a good 3 or 4 feet out in front of home plate.
Wow.
That's sacrificing your body.
That ball almost hit the grass.
Yep.
That was curving from right to left, and it bounced from left to right. Fortunately, he got his shoulder on it.
Gallardo set for the 1-2 pitch. That evens the count. You know, one of the guys that is probably as good as anybody blocking balls in the dirt, Pudge Rodriguez. Pudge's been doing a lot of work with Bobby Wilson and Chris Jimenez, Robinson Chirinos, Carlos Corporan before ball games, before batting practice, actually, lending his expertise to them. 3-2 now to Cruz. And I think if I were a catcher, I would ask every question I could think of Pudge Rodriguez. Can't imagine a better source of information to be a catcher.
Well, you've got a catcher to his right, you've got a young pitcher to his left.
Yep.
So two smart guys right there.
Full count. And low and outside, ball 4. So Cruz, that's something we wouldn't have seen Nelly Cruz do, I don't think, in past years. Before, when he was here anyway, he would expand that strike zone in an effort to get the runner home, and he was willing to take the walk here. So first and third with 1 out. And here's a little bit out of yesterday. Pudge out throwing some balls. You know, once you can do that the way that Pudge did it, you never lose it, apparently. Bobby Wilson right there keeping an eye on it. Mac, I remember you talking about when you were playing with Pudge, how much of a delight it was to receive throws from him at second base.
Oh, I just loved it. I loved it. Most runners did not have a chance. I probably there might have been a couple of base stealers that, you know, would challenge him consistently. Not that they won, but, you know, Kenny Lofton was one. It didn't matter. Kenny Lofton, he'd get on, he was going to go. And Pudge loved every minute of it. I really think sometimes he, you know, would call a pitch and tell him what was coming just so he can hit a single and then try and throw him out stealing. But yeah, you know, I get to second base and I'm waiting. I've got the ball and I'm waiting for the runner to come in there and slide. It's like, you know, it was a joke sometimes.
Now, conference concluded. Robinson Cano, the hitter. Runners at the corners, 1 out.
Well, for about 20 years of the Rangers' existence, the Rangers have had an opportunity to watch catching about as good as it gets with Pudge and Jim Sundberg.
Yep.
I can remember, Buzz, you might have been playing for Whitey Herzog when Kansas City had their great teams with a lot of speed. They'd run teams right out of the ballpark, and they came in the first couple of games of a 4-game series, and every time they tried to steal, they're going to have to finish this one.
There you go. 6-4-3. Thank you very much. And that takes care of Mike Maddox. Went to the mound, ordered up a double play, and Giovanni Gallardo said, sure, why not? No runs ahead, 1 man left. Halfway through the ball game, 3-0 Seattle. September 29th. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Yu Darvish gnome, and that's thanks to Nitto Tire USA Incorporated. Get to TexasRangers.com. Get your tickets for the last giveaway of the season. Well, Bobby Wilson starting things off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Rangers down by a 3-0 count. Bobby grounded out to second base back in the 2nd. Wilson 197 overall as Paxton gets the inside corner. And it's 0-2.
Well, just as that double play was turned, we were talking about Ranger catching, and what a great opportunity Ranger fans over the years have had to see great catching with Pudge and Jim Sundberg. And I was going back to the time when Kansas City came into town. Whitey Herzog was the manager, Sonny was catching, and you know, whether it was Willie Wilson, Amos Otis, Freddie Patek, Frank White, heck, even John Wathan used to steal bases back then. You know, first couple games they tried to steal. Sonny threw out 3 or 4 guys in the first couple of games, and Whitey Herzog came out the 3rd game and said, "You made a believer out of me. We will not be running against Jim Sundberg for the rest of this series."
Yeah.
You know, that's far enough back where a lot of fans may not have seen Sonny or may not remember it. And I'm not even going to attempt to compare Sonny to Pudge because they're both great catchers. But when you talk about controlling a running game, you talk about both those guys in the same sentence. That's sure.
Yep. Here's Delino to Shields. 3rd at bat now for the Ranger leadoff man. Delino has grounded to short and been called out on strikes. James Paxton now with half a dozen strikeouts to his credit. 1 ball and 1 strike to Delino. Remember the night before last, Delino looked to kind of tweak his knee a little bit in the outfield. Said it was okay, nothing major. 2-1. That might be the kind of thing where he hurt his knee up in Seattle in that series up there. That might be the kind of deal where it's going to be the winter before it gets completely healed. Well, Delino aboard with a very sharp 1-out single.
The Rangers have had 5 hits in the game, and every single one of them has been a rope. And here's another one by Delino. Gets a low inside fastball and rips it over short. Chu has hit a couple of line drives. The hit that Elvis had was a smash down the 3rd baseline. Adrian's was a smash to right field. Just haven't been able to get that big hit in the innings where they had the men on base.
Well, here it is, the aforementioned Shin-Soo Choo. A pair of singles. 1 to center, 1 to right. High and tight from Paxton. Choo now hitting at 270, and this is as high as he has been the entire year. And you know, you go back to the last day of April, he was hitting 096. First day of May, whichever you want. And he took off a little bit from there. Went into a kind of a lull, I guess, in July, but since the All-Star break, he has really put on the afterburners.
He's got the best on-base percentage in the American League since the All-Star break. It's with these 2 hits, it's probably around 460, 465 right now.
And in the month of September, he is burning up the league also. Now we're better than halfway through the month. And coming into today, he's hitting 424 in September. He's gone 2 for 2, so that's gone up to 440, somewhere in that vicinity. High and outside, 3 balls and a strike.
You know, it's incredible to think a guy can raise his average that much, you know, through the course of the season. Because the longer you go, the tougher it becomes to raise your average.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of April, you know, he may have been close to 100 at bats.
Right.
And to be where he is now, he has done some serious hitting to raise that average. That's for sure.
Well, the 2 for 2 that he has tonight, Max, only raised his average 3 points. And it seemed like it took a while to get to 250, but it's gone to 270 pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get 3 and 4 hits a night, it
that'll happen.
Doesn't take quite as long. Pop foul, that will reach the seats on the 3rd base side. So the count has gone full. Chu hitting second in the order. Delino at first with 1 out. Adrian Beltre, the Ranger number 3 hitter, is in the on-deck circle. Crowd trying to get involved, and this crowd has filled in as the night has gone on, very much like the last couple of games in the Houston series. Folks coming out wanting to be part of something special happening at the ballpark. Chopper foul. Delino, kind of a late jump from first base. Well, he'll retrace his steps. Still 3-2 to Chu. Hector Ortiz over there letting Delino know what his assignment is. And Paxton will drive him back with a toss. Paxton reading the signs. The left-hander is ready. The Shields on the move. The pitch is looped to right field. Trumbo can't get it. It's by him. And now going to third is Delino to Shields. Now throw back to first. Almost went over Morrison's head into the Ranger dugout.
Unfortunately, it wasn't right on the bag because they might have got Shin-Soo going back to first.
Well, the Rangers now runners at the corners with just 1 out after this looping single.
Another hit for Chu. Great read by DeShields. He's in place to get back to first base if Trumbo makes that catch. He sees the ball get by and he goes on to third base. So great read there. And Chu almost, but he made it back.
Now Lloyd McClendon headed out to the mound, and he's going to talk to his left-hander. Trumbo almost came up with this.
The ball touched his glove. Nice try by the big guy.
Was as far down as he could get.
Yep.
Trumbo came up as a third baseman, moved across the diamond to first, and now in the outfield. And
Chu is now 10 for his last 12 with a walk in his last 13 plate appearances.
Man, I'm not quite sure if that's good.
Jeez.
It's not bad.
Wow.
It's okay. So first and third. See Paxton at 78 pitches tonight, and he's been on a pretty hard pitch count of 85 to 90 being his second out. That was Danny Farquhar, by the way, throwing in the Mariner bullpen. Here's Beltre, a walk and a single. Takes strike 1.
Well, Paxton has had a lot of strikes in that part of the strike zone today to left-hand hitters and right-hand hitters. That lower right part of the strike zone, he's peppered that all day long and got a lot of called strikes there.
Left-hander checks the runners. Way inside. He almost peppered the backstop with that. 1-1. Beltre singled in the first, drew a walk in the third. 15-game home hitting streak for Adrian Beltre, a .417 mark over those 15 games. Inside and low, and it's 2-1. Stephen Barron is going to, well, he's going to go to sleep very easily tonight. Let's put it that way. He's wearing out. Going to wake up in the middle of the night flinching. 2-1 the count. 3 balls and a strike. Beltre looking back. Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson, as if to say, please don't call that a strike. 3-1. The Shields at third, Chu at first. In the dirt, ball 4, and that will load the bases for Prince Fielder. Second walk issued by Paxton tonight. Second time he's walked Beltre. Fielder has had no luck tonight against Paxton. He has struck out both times.
He hasn't come close to seeing a very good pitch to hit yet. Last time up, he got behind in the count on a pitch that was down and away. Paxton will give him something out over the plate that he can drive this time.
Well, bases full of Ranger teammates. I would look for Prince to probably drive the ball to left center. What we've seen in run-producing situations. Ball one.
That crowd getting into it, everybody on their feet.
That they are. A lot of red again out here at the ballpark, even though red out officially ended last night. Fans are saying, heck with that. We're still wearing red. 1-0 to Fielder. At the knees, 1-1.
Part of the strike zone.
If he keeps throwing that pitch in that same spot, there's not going to be anything they can do about it.
Paxton from the stretch. That is low. 2 balls and a strike. Hey, the other thing, if he keeps throwing it out there and he misses a little bit on the plate,
just once,
Prince might just leave the yard with it.
Just once.
A lot of the crowd here at Globe Life Park on their feet. Hey, I've seen the Rangers perform some miracles of late in this ballpark. They are at the altar of a W here again tonight. Low and outside, 3-1. Fielder batting fourth, Mike Napoli in the on-deck circle. The fans are up. The electricity has been turned back on here at Globe Life. Outside ball forward, he walked in a run.
Great at bat by Prince. The other 2 at bats he struck out, didn't really have anything to hit. Expanded the strike zone, swung at a few pitches out of the zone. But in that situation there, he just kept his cool, waited for that perfect pitch, and didn't get it. He takes a walk.
Now you saw Lloyd McClendon mulling over the possibilities. It took him a while, and then I think he realized the pitch count at 88 was more than they had, or was at the limit they had set for James Paxton, and he finally said, okay, I'm going to have to go to the right-hander, Danny Farquhar. So Paxton finished. He leaves leading 3-1, but he's loaded the bases with 1 out. Mike Napoli, the hitter. A pitching change underway at Globe Life. We're back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Farquhar has entered the ballgame in a pretty tough mess. Got the bases full with 1 out. He'll deal to Mike Napoli. Farquhar appearing in his 37th ball game, 0-4. The league hitting .265 against him. He's facing Mike Napoli, who was 0 for 4 against him in the past. First pitch, a fastball on the outside corner. Farquhar, a lot of cut fastballs to right-handed hitters. Mix in an occasional curveball and also a straight change. Napoli tonight, a walk and a fly ball to right. Nothing and 2. Fans trying to get the Napoli chant going. Will, as soon as he steps back in, resume. Chu at third, Beltre at second, Fielder at first. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball to Cano. The second, the return by Marte as he's falling to the ground in time to get Napoli. And the double play ends the inning. Well, the Rangers get a run, but miss a golden opportunity to do more damage. A run on 2 hits, and they leave 2. After 5, 3-1 Seattle. It's also the last chance this season to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night. Get to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets for this important AL matchup. You and your Dollar Hot Dogs, the Rangers and the Tigers. Savor all the Dollar Hot Dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Camera shy. Will Venable is coming to the ballgame now to take over in left field. Venable will hit in Mike Napoli's spot. Giovanni Gallardo to the mound, and Mark Trumbo leading off the top of the 6th inning. Trumbo has struck out and singled tonight. Gallardo with 88 pitches under his belt and a very quick 4th and 5th inning. About 24, 25 pitches between those 2 innings. He's back out there with a pretty manageable pitch count now. 1 ball and 1 strike to Trumbo. Base hit to left field. Trumbo reaching out. He's got that long armed swing of his, and he can really cover a lot of the plate.
He makes solid contact. That ball jumps off his bat. He can hit some low ropes.
The pitch count we were talking about for Giovanni. 27 pitches in the 4th and 5th total after an 8-pitch 3rd inning. Well, right at 90 as he has 1 on after the leadoff single, and Steve Buechele on his way out to the mound. And Boo, a very purposeful walk. You would imagine that Boo going out there to make a pitching change. Gallardo has worked 5 innings plus a hitter here in the 6th. And not real thrilled with coming out of the ball game, or having to come out of the ball game. And it will be the young left-hander Andrew Faulkner. So a pitching change underway at Globe Life Park. 1 on, nobody out here in the top of the 6th. Mariners leading 3-1. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Left-hander Andrew Faulkner. Faulkner on in relief of Yovani Gallardo. Andrew appearing in his 6th ball game. He last worked 2 nights ago against the Astros. Worked an inning, gave up a couple of runs in that ball game. He is on here, asked to face Seth Smith with a runner at first and nobody out. Trumbo was at first, but he has been removed. We have a pinch runner. James Jones, the runner at first base. Smith 0 for 2 tonight, a strikeout and a double play. Smith, a .249 hitter, 11 home runs, 40 RBI. Faulkner, a check of first. Elvis to the bag, on to first, double play. Oh, nicely done as Faulkner gets the 2 ball. Base is empty with 2 outs.
Double plays played a big part in this game for both teams. Softly hit ball, but it's so close to second base. It's a simple double play for Elvis. A great opportunity for Andrew Faulkner. Converted to a reliever, called up in a pennant race, and getting an opportunity to pitch in a meaningful part of the ball game in the pennant race. Invaluable experience for a young lefty, or a young righty for that matter.
A young pitcher.
A young pitcher.
And Anthony Bass loosening in the Ranger bullpen just in case. Well, Faulkner out of the University of South Carolina. He's an Aiken, South Carolina native. Logan Morrison couldn't solve him there. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Faulkner, a starter, as Tom told you, for the Rangers throughout his minor league career until this year. Started the year at Double-A and was switched over to the bullpen fairly early in the year at Frisco, then promoted to Triple-A, where he continued the process very briefly, and now at the big league level. Called up to the big leagues for the first time on the 28th of August. 1-2 pitch to Morrison. Odor to the backhand. That will do it. The leadoff single taken care of by the double play. Faulkner faces 3 hitters is all he has. After 5.5, 3-1 Seattle. The Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $200 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Ruby Harrod from Burleson will win $200. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Ruby is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Mitch Moreland will step in to lead off the 6th inning. Mitch has struck out twice tonight, both those at bats against James Paxton. And Danny Farquhar going to work. Eagles strike 1. Moreland 1 out of 5 against Farquhar in past matchups. Well, Brad Miller moves from center to left. James Jones stays in the ballgame, takes over in center field. And Seth Smith moving from left over to right. Mitch swing and a miss through the fastball. It is 1-2. Farquhar sets. And he went around. Mitch down on strikes. That is out number 1 here in the 6th inning.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrews.
Farquhar picking up right where James Paxton left off with the strikeouts. Paxton had 6 in his 4 1/3 innings of work. Farquhar opens up the 6th with his first strikeout. Elvis Andrews stepping in. Elvis hit a hot shot to third that got off the glove of Kyle Seager for a base hit. So Elvis 1 out of 2. Elvis now at 257 with the average. Big breaking ball that knocked the glove right off of Stephen Barron's hand. What's this? Trying to keep that hand nice and relaxed.
He had a lot of spin on it. Wasn't going that fast.
That was a towering pop up into shallow right. Ambling in is Smith, and Seth Smith makes the catch for out number 2.
Second baseman, Rougned.
The base is empty for Rougned Odor. Odor, a couple of ground outs, the last one into a double play. Rougned 1 for 3 against Danny Farquhar. Farquhar spent a good portion of the 2015 season at AAA. Just couldn't get things going at the big league level, and Mariners optioned him. Bullpen, as Tom mentioned, bullpen was just horrific the first part of the year. And Danny Farquhar, part of that bullpen, and most of them either changed positions or changed teams. Fernando Rodney no longer in the organization, and he's one of the casualties. 21 blown saves, you can see. To center field and hit deep. Jones on the run, going back. And he makes the catch just before he gets to the warning track. Rougned put a charge in it, but came up short. Rangers gone in order. We have finished 6 at Globe Life Park. It's the Mariners 3 and the Rangers 1. Summary and all the damage by the Mariners done in that second inning. Ketel Marte, an opposite field double, driving in 2 runs. And then it was Kyle Seager with a looping single to left to plate the 3rd run as Marte scored. That's been the sum total of the Seattle offense. Rangers, meanwhile, loaded the bases. Prince Fielder drew the walk. But the Rangers then had a double play that ended that 5th inning with no further damage. So 3-1. And Andrew Faulkner back out. Andrew came in to get the 3 outs in the 6th inning after the leadoff single to Mark Trumbo. Faulkner now will face Brad Miller to start off the 7th inning. It'll be Miller, Barron, and Marte. First 3 Mariners. Brad Miller tonight, a double, a run scored, also a ground ball to second.
There's certainly a spot in their lineup where if you have a left-handed reliever, you would bring him in. Smith, Morrison, Miller, all left-hand hitters. Then after Barron, Marte's a switch hitter, but then Seager's a left-hand hitter. That's a great opportunity for Andrew to come in, stay in the game, face a bunch of hitters, get a chance to get the job done. Did an excellent job in the 6th inning. Came in, got the double play and a ground ball. Finished the 6th inning. Trying to get through the 7th inning now. Only thrown 9 pitches. Gotten 3 outs and thrown 3 pitches to this hitter.
And that one just a little bit high to Miller. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Faulkner's we've talked about it. Well, he has a perfect motion for a left-handed reliever to come in, match up against left-handers. It's got to be tough for a left-hander to pick it up. Just seeing him one time. It's out of play. And he has the assortment, having been a starter, he has the assortment of pitches that should he decide to go to something other than a fastball breaking ball, I'm sure he has the ability to change speeds a bit. Still 2-2. That was out of play. The Mariners 3 runs on 8 hits tonight. Rangers 1 run on 6 hits. Giovanni Gallardo gave up all 3 runs on those 8 hits in his 5 innings plus 1 hitter of work tonight. Up the middle by Faulkner. It was on his glove hand side. He just couldn't get that glove down quickly enough. And Brad Miller, a leadoff single here in the 7th.
He throws in a breaking ball, catches a little bit too much of the plate though. Miller with two strikes goes back up the middle with that base hit. Probably a bunt situation right here for Barron.
You've got the young catcher Stephen Barron up there, who's 0 for 2 and 0 for 8 in his big league at bats this year. He is around a bunt, and the bunt is in the air. To second, they get 1. Not quite enough time to maybe double up Barron at first. But Adrian making sure of the out at second. So no sacrifice. Barron aboard on the fielder's choice. Now 1 gone, and back to the top of the order for Ketel Marte.
Got pretty good wood on this bunt. Almost bunted it right straight to Adrian. Adrian's in back of the bag. He's charging. Can't quite get it in the air. Settles for the force out at second.
Marte, the switch hitter, turning around to bat from the right side. Takes strike 1 from Faulkner. Marte now with a couple of hits tonight, 2 doubles, as a matter of fact, now up to 281. One ball and 1 strike. Marte this year a 250 average as a right-handed hitter, 299 coming in as a left-handed hitter. Pretty much the same number of appearances for him, both sides of the plate. Tried to check his swing, and he apparently did. It's 2-1. Faulkner peering in for the signs. Bobby Wilson flashing him out. Now Faulkner breaks contact with the rubber. Ranger outfield fairly shallow. Venable a little bit deeper in left field. But both Chu and Delino to Shields way in for Marte. Marte does not have a home run in his major league career. To left field, Venable retreating. It's a good thing he was playing deeper. Marte hit that ball pretty well, but he lines out to Will Venable for the second out. And for you folks that are wondering about our Fox box, our score box up there, we apologize. It'll be back up as soon as we can get the bugs worked out. No, 2 away. Here is Kyle Seager now. And I'm sure Andrew Faulkner very well aware of the fact that Kyle Seager has better numbers against left-handed pitchers than he does right-handed pitchers. That's one of the things that would be emphasized in the pitchers' meetings before the series begins.
Well, Seager's been hot. He's had 2 hits tonight. Coming into the game, in his last 19 games, he was hitting .392. So in his last 20 games, he's somewhere around .400. One surprising thing with Seager this year, he's only hit .177 with men in scoring position. He's hit 24 home runs, only knocked in 66 runs. He's had some opportunities and hasn't cashed in with men in scoring position.
Bud sitting there with Andrew Alberto and Martin Perez, encouraging Kyle Seager to hit the ball in fair territory, not toward them. 0-2 pitch. Could have been. Could have been.
That's where James Paxton made his living tonight.
One and two to Seager. Got him swinging. Faulkner worked him over pretty well, so the leadoff single, no damage. The runner stranded. And we'll take the stretch here at Globe Life Park. 3-1 Mariners. Now we'll join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Will you please rise as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the world. The Texas Rangers invite everyone at Globe Life Park to join in singing God Bless America.
Photo of the evening, and this one comes to us from Kim. Kim, thanks very much. We do appreciate it. And if you folks would like to send in your photo, just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. Your photo might be selected to be aired during an upcoming broadcast, the way Kim's was tonight. All this made possible by the good folks at T-Mobile. Now we go to the bottom of the seventh inning. Logan Kensing on now to take over for the Mariners. Kensing becomes the third pitcher used tonight. Kensing, born in San Antonio. He is a 33-year-old right-hander, and with the Mariners this year, just 10 games under his belt. This is number 11, 1-0 with a 6.23 ERA. Opposition, though, hitting just 194 against him. Bobby Wilson, the first hitter he will face. And strike one. Bobby tonight 0 for 2. A ground ball to second and a strikeout. Gensing from Bernie, Texas. Originally selected by the then Florida Marlins. Logan played his college ball down at College Station, Texas A&M. 1 ball and 1 strike. On the inside corner, front door breaking ball. And Bobby questioning Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire. And our Fox tracker would seem to back up Bobby on that question. 1-2. Rangers down by a couple of runs here in the 7th inning. And they're facing a Seattle bullpen that has been much improved. They have the best ERA in the month of September in the American League. One of the reasons why they've played so well, especially on the road. That bullpen has really been strengthened and gotten their act together, if you will. At 1.46 ERA in September, best in the American League. 2-2 pitch. And the count is full. So Wilson trying to get aboard. The top of the order is waiting to be next. The first one would be Delino to Shields. Gensing okays the sign. The right-hander with a high set. Payoff pitch. Pulled foul. He will try it again. Gensing is, you no doubt noticed, a lot of breaking balls. He'll throw up to 75% sliders, especially to right-handed hitters. A very occasional fastball. Another 3-2 is coming. Seager on to first. 1 gone. Delino coming up. And before DeShields steps into the batter's box, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you. Well, here's Delino for his 4th at bat of the night. DeShields had a 1-out single in the 5th inning, and he has scored what is so far the only Ranger run of the night. He walked home on Prince Fielder's bases loaded walk. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Delino hitting right where he began play tonight at .253. Gensing with a 1-0. Now 2-0. Crowd getting a little bit restless. They would love to have something to cheer for here in this 7th inning. Delino thinking a little bit about that last pitch. Now he's ready to face the 2-1 from Gensing. That drops over the inside part of the plate. Carson Smith and Roenis Elias. Elias, the left-hander in that Seattle bullpen. 2-2 the count. 1 out, base is empty. And it's popped up on the right side. Cano going out. Coming on is Smith. The right fielder makes the call and the catch. There are 2 out.
Right fielder, and
out in the Ranger bullpen is John Dyson in the foreground. Tanner Shepard's behind him. And Lloyd McClendon, after a little bit of deliberation, is headed out to the mound.
Well, when you've got this many guys out in the bullpen, 10, 11, 12 guys, plenty of lefties, all sorts of righties, you can pretty much mix and match all you want in a ball game in September.
Now it'll be Yoenis Elias to enter the ball game. Rangers have seen him as a starter, and he's going to be coming out of the bullpen here in the 7th to face Shin-Soo Choo with nobody on and 2 out. So a pitching change underway at Globe Life Park. We'll be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The 27-year-old left-hander out of Guantanamo, Cuba, on now his 19th ball game of the year. As we mentioned, primarily a starter for the Mariners, and his innings would tell you that he has seen a lot of action starting out ball games. 5-8, the record. The league hitting just .241 against him. He is asked here to face left-handed hitting Shin-Soo Choo with the bases empty and 2 outs. Choo, in previous matchups, is 1 for 5 against Elias. And the first pitch is a breaking ball that short hops the backstop.
That's one the fans don't quite pick up on. They just see the ball up there. They know Choo's got 10 hits and 12 at bats, and they figure, oh, he's throwing at him. But that one just slipped out of his hand.
Choo 3 for 3 tonight. Pitch is wide, 2 balls and no strikes. That was kind of what Elias had in mind the first pitch. Didn't quite get that done. Mariners shifted well around to the right, although not in an overshift against Choo. Outside, 3-0. See the shortstop Marte favoring up the middle, but still on the third base side of second, and well off the line is Seager at third. 3-0 pitch. Now 3-1. Well, Choo trying to get aboard. That would bring the tying run to the plate in the person of Adrian Beltre. To left field, slicing toward the seats, and the wind helps that ball slice even more away from Brad Miller and out of his reach. 3-2. Oh, Choo, come on back to home plate, grab that bat, see if he can't get aboard here with 2 outs. Rangers with 6 hits tonight. They've also had 4 walks. They've had 10 base runners. Just haven't been able to get the big hit. Inside corner, call strike 3. Everything away until that last pitch, and Chu caught looking. That'll do it. The Rangers gone in the 7th inning. On to the 8th we go at Globe Life Park. The Mariners 3 and the Rangers 1.
The game, the Boulware family. That's right, Jeff. How many generations?
There's 4 of us. There's my mother Joy, my son Rick, my grandson Tristan, and that's my daughter-in-law who's also pregnant for another 4th generation, and my girlfriend Lauren.
Very nice, very nice. I understand you're a big-time singer. Let's hear a sample of your work.
Take me out to the ball game.
Not bad. There we go. There's the back. Congratulations. 4 generations. The Boulware family having a good time. Grandma, are you having a good time?
I am having a wonderful time, except they need to score about 4 more runs.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You got it. We'll order those up. All right. Appreciate it. Good having you guys. Thank you very much, Buzz.
All right, Oxy, thank you. Well, Tanner Shepard has come out of the Ranger bullpen. And first hitter he faces Willie Cruz, and what a diving attempt by Delino to Shields. Couldn't keep it in his glove. So Cruz is aboard with a leadoff base hit. Delino looked like that ball dove at the last minute as Delino was diving for it.
Yeah, it looked like Delino thought the ball was going to go a little farther. Then he got his glove on it. It's in the glove until he lifts it up. Boy, that's pretty close to being a catch. Couldn't quite keep it in the glove. It's all the way in the glove now, and as it slides and he lifts up his glove, it just pops out. Great try. He was able to keep that glove out in front of him instead of tucking under on the ground behind him. It probably would have stayed in his glove.
And you might want to remind folks that there is no time limit on how long you have to hang on to it before it's a catch. It's whether you control the ball and let go of it on your own volition.
Right.
Transfer it to your throwing end. Well, Steve Buechele out there to the mound. He will take the ball from Tanner Shepard. And it looks like Jake Diekman, the left-hander, will be asked to come in to face Robinson Cano with Cruz at first base and nobody out. So another pitching change underway at Globe Life Park. 3-1 Mariners leading. We're back after this. postseason suite rentals. Postseason suites are a perfect way to entertain your group of 12 to 100. Visit TexasRangers.com/postseason suite to get all the details on this exciting opportunity. Well, Jake Diekman has entered the ballgame now to take over. He relieves Tanner Shepard, who made one pitch and gave up the base hit to Nelly Cruz. So 1 on, nobody out. Robinson Cano will come up. Diekman in his 21st ball game as a Ranger. League hitting just 190 against him. Cano takes low and outside for ball 1. You remember the series in Seattle when Diekman faced Cano late in the ball game on the 8th of September, and Cano hit a home run to right center field off of Jake. John O'Malley is the pinch runner, by the way, for Nelly Cruz. So O'Malley running at first. Cano waiting. Rangers a couple of steps to the right for the left-handed hitter. Good look at the defense. Outfield shading Cano the other way. And that is low. 2 balls, nothing, and no strikes. First time that Jake has been on the mound since the first game of that Houston series. Worked 2/3 of an inning. Hits the outside corner. And it's 2-1.
And the ball that Cano hit in Seattle was a good fastball, 97, 98 miles an hour. A little bit on the inside part of the plate, though, middle in. When Jake keeps that fastball to a left-hand hitter out there, a little bit different story. That ball's not going out of the ballpark.
Like right there?
Yeah, it looks more like that.
Jake, of course, coming over with Cole Hamels from the Phillies. Back at the trade deadline with Philadelphia this year. Jake went 2-1, but he had a rather unsightly 5.15 ERA. And that has certainly not been the case with the Rangers. He has been very, very good. 2-2 pitch to Cano. Full count. So Diekman, who has 6 walks in 17 innings of work, has the full count to Cano. O'Malley edging off first, payoff pitch. And with O'Malley moving, Cano fouled it back.
Yeah, when you throw it outside, you see that kind of a swing. And then when you throw it a few inches inside like that, you see a certain kind of a swing. It's the one near the middle of the plate on the inside part of the plate. That's the one that you might see a better swing on. Cano just fighting the other pitches off, waiting to see if he can get that other pitch to swing at.
O'Malley on the move again, and the throw to second. They get there and are able to turn it. What a play! What a decision by Rougned Odor.
Boy, those two guys are playing some kind of baseball right now. That double play they turned the other night against Houston was about as quickly as you could turn one. This one, I think when the ball's hit, you just say, well, Rougned can't get the man at second. He's just going to have to throw it to first. He had other ideas, though. He takes a look, fires it quickly. Elvis avoids the slide and turns 2. What a great play. Elvis hasn't made an error in about 2 months, it feels like. And he and Rougned are really playing some great baseball.
Well, O'Malley trying to get to the bag as quick as he could. He was not even worried about Elvis trying to turn the double play, about taking him out. So a 4.63, and you won't see anything prettier than that. And James Jones now takes low and outside for ball 1. Jones came in as a pinch runner for Mark Trumbo back in the 6th inning. 158 average, and Diekman nails down the outside corner at 97 miles an hour. 1-2, I should say. Little topper right back to Jake Diekman. And that'll do it. Well, the leadoff single taken care of by the double play turned by Odor and Andrews. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Beltre, Fielder, and Venable. Rangers trail by 2.
In Arlington, trailing the Mariners by a score of 3-1. This the opener of a 3-game set against the M's. Game 2 tomorrow, right here at Globe Life Park. 7 o'clock first pitch. This one can be seen on TXA 21 in the Metroplex and outside of the Metroplex on Fox Sports Southwest Plus. There you see one of the key matchups, and this one is Cole Hamels starting to find his groove here in Texas, 3-0 in his last 5 starts. And of course, Nelson Cruz swinging that hot bat, 42 home runs, which is tied for the most in all of baseball. Things get going at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest Plus and TXA 21. Thanks to the folks at AT U-verse for getting us ready for Game 2, fellas.
All right, and thank you. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Carson Smith, 25-year-old right-hander from Midland, Texas, on now to take over. And how about the most strikeouts? Carson Smith up there among AL leaders. He is 4th in relief. Dylan Betances with 118. Carson Smith with 82, I should say. And he has been something. He was the closer for the span of about 2 months for the Mariners. All the troubles they had. He's got a new battery mate, Jesus Sucre, has come into the ballgame and takes over behind the plate. Adrian Beltre starting things off for the Rangers. Rangers trailing 3-1, and Beltre takes the ball.
If you're a right-hand hitter facing this guy, you've got your work cut out for him when you try to hit that slider. I don't think he can pick the ball up the way he throws from that kind of low arm angle. Hides the ball behind him. Bang, that thing comes out, as the players say, like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Combine that with usually a mid-90s fastball. But the reason why he's got all those strikeouts.
Yeah, and he throws that heavy sinker fastball most of the time, that 2-seamer. A little bit difficult. Beltre, though, in front of the count at 2-1. Now 3-1. Adrian jumping back. So Beltre trying to get aboard. Rangers trailing by 2 here in the 8th. Prince Fielder in the on-deck circle. Smith peering in for the sign. 6'6" right-hander back to the plate. And ball 4. Adrian works a walk. That's his 3rd walk of the night. He is still 1 for 1 officially. We will take you back to Monday, our AT&T Uverse Rewind. Beltre started things off with that base hit to left field. Hit Prince Fielder. Dead center and gone. That was the 8th inning of Monday night. Boy, it set the stage for a 4-game sweep over those Astros. Ball 1 is outside. Fielder 0 for 3 against Smith. And Prince 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of strikeouts. He did have a bases loaded walk driving in his 84th run of the year. 1-1. Fielder hitting at .312. Got Beltre at first, who had his 3rd walk. 2nd time this year that Beltre has had 3 walks in the game. Chopper gets by Morrison. Everybody's going to be safe.
Wow. That's a fortuitous hop for the Rangers.
We talked about how good Logan Morrison is around the bag at first. He just fanned on that, it looked like.
That looked like it was going to be a pretty simple play, although a very slowly hit ball. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. I don't know what happened. He just missed it. He's looking at it. He's looking at it, and then never touched it. I mean, it looked like he lost it in the lights or something. Because it was not a hard ball to catch. It's just an easy little blooper on a hop. He looks at it all the way and never touched it.
Yeah, and he wasn't looking somewhere else.
No.
He was looking at the ball the whole time.
He just looked at it and I guess misjudged it.
Well, it goes as an error on Morrison, and also it brings Rangers speed into play now. Ryan Strasburger takes over at first as the pinch runner, and he represents the tying run. So 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Will Venable with his first at-bat of the night. He's going to bunt. The pitch is inside and gets away. Beltre going to 3rd. The slide, he's safe. Adrian had to put on whatever burst of speed he could manage right at the tail end.
I think he's all right.
Looked like he slid over part of the bag. Tony Beasley said, telling the bench he's okay. You don't need to come out. Oh, nice job by Beltre. And now the challenge has been issued by Lloyd McClendon.
I don't think so.
They're not going to win that one.
Ball might have been there, but, well, did he come off the bag? I guess there it is. It wasn't the initial play.
Yeah. Well, when he comes up, right there is the tag on him.
Yeah, it was the tag on him. I don't know.
That's going to be a tough one. Steve Buechele is going to come out and check on Adrian. Here's another angle for you. Adrian's got the hand in there. The tag is on him right there. But how long did it stay on him long enough to when he came off the bag with that left leg? That's the question.
He's safe. He's safe. His hand's still on the bag. His hand's still on the bag. His hand's still on the bag. Is the glove touching him? Boy, that's a tough call.
Goodness, I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, again.
So if we were the umpires, we couldn't reverse it because we don't know.
That's right. That's right. The call on the field is safe, and that's the important one because there has to be clear and convincing evidence now to overturn that call. There doesn't have to be clear and convincing evidence to allow the call to stand. You just can't be dead sure that the call was incorrect. Now Beltre looking up, trying to see the replays on the big screen. Chuck Morgan doing what he can to get the various angles to the folks and to the players up on the big screen. Meanwhile, umpires with the headsets on. And here's the best angle for you. You can see that Adrian with that hand on the bag now, and the tag applied right there. Seager trying to keep the tag on him as long as he can. Is it still on him right there when the leg comes off? I don't know. No. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief and home plate umpire, and Chris Guccione, the umpire that made the call at third, have the headsets on. They're hooked up with the replay command center in New York, and it's in the hands of the folks in New York as to whether this call will be overturned, or that it'll stand, whether it will be confirmed. And the way they're going, I don't think it's going to be confirmed. That may be out of reason with the various angles that we've seen anyway. Steve Buechele on your left there, one of the interested spectators in this process going on down in the field. Adrian, kind of a quizzical look at Tony Beasley.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger calls of the year.
Yep.
2-run game. Is it first and third and nobody out? Man on first and one out. Crunch time in a close game in a pennant race. Huge call by the umpires. Look at it as long as you need.
And they are taking all the time they need to. Back in New York.
It hasn't stood out to them that he came off the bag yet. I don't know how it's going to change. We have a little bit of a vested interest in that decision, though, falling in that direction.
Chris Guccione wanting to take the headsets off. He does now, and we'll have the decision ruled here. He is out at third. Well, the call is overturned on review. That is a big one right there. That is a big one. So Adrian back to the dugout.
They got better eyes than we do. Or maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they don't.
So one away now with a runner at first. Ryan Strasburger all by himself on the base paths, and pretty well takes care of the bunt possibility. Venable, a count of 1 ball and no strikes. Will hitting at 250. Takes a strike from Smith. Venable, a 200 hitter with the Rangers in his time in Texas. Smith okays the sign, a check of Strasburger. Said that was a foul tip. Tom Wilhelmsen, the closer, right-hander. Joe Beimel, the left-hander. Beimel looks like he's ready if needed. A ball and 2 strikes to Venable. Chopped it down, foul. We'll try it again. And looking up at the scoreboard, good news from down in Minute Maid Park. The Astros have taken a 4-3 lead in the 8th inning over the Astros. Or the A's, I'm sorry. The A's have taken a 4-3 lead over the Astros. The Astros are leading the Astros, right? Yeah.
It's an inter-squad game.
That's either a no-win or a no-lose situation, whichever way you want to look at it.
Will trying to put one of those sliders in place right on top of all of them, hanging in there. Maybe get one up. Pitch that he could drive if he does get one up. No, not that one. Boy, that's a nasty pitch.
That it is. That is the strikeout. There are 2 gone now, and Mitch Moreland coming out. Carson Smith with his first strikeout. Yeah, the combination of not being able to pick it up very well and the late sharp break on that, devastating for hitters. Well, here's Mitch. Moreland has struck out 3 times tonight. twice swinging, once looking. And Sucre going to go out and talk to Carson Smith. Well, the inning started promisingly. Adrian Beltre drew the leadoff walk. Prince Fielder reached on the error by Logan Morrison. And then Beltre was out on appeal on the replay, trying to go to third on a wild pitch. And the replay showed that apparently that he was thrown out in his attempt to advance.
You know, one thing that's changed on those kind of tag plays with instant replay is the fielder keeping the glove on the runner.
Yep.
In the old days, before instant replay, you would see the tag applied quickly and not held on the runner, because very seldom would it be ruled by an umpire that the man had come off the base, as they ruled with Adrian. There's no way an umpire can see that. But with instant replay now, on most stolen bases and that kind of a play at third, the fielder will leave the glove as the runner slides across the base in case he comes off, however momentarily. Now, in that particular case, it looked like Adrian might have come off the base, but the question was Seager's glove still touching him?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And it was very difficult to see whether it was or not. And to me, when it takes that long to make the call, several minutes, I don't know how you can be sure that Seager's glove was touching the runner. It seems to me you would have to be able to see that right off the bat and say, oh, there it is. He's off the base. The glove is touching the runner. When it takes that long, to me, it seems like it would be difficult to reverse it. But that's just us as Ranger broadcasters.
Pitch out. Strasburger not going anyplace. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Moreland.
I would say it was fairly unlikely that he would have been going somewhere in a 2-run game with Mitch at the plate, but nothing wrong with being prepared, I guess.
They're checking it. Well, Mitch 2 out of 3 in his career against Carson Smith. 1-2 pitch. Hit him. Fastball up and in. It got him. And that puts the tying runs on base with 2 out. And Elvis Andrus coming up.
Now batting the shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
Lloyd McClendon.
Well, he's seen a leadoff walk and a 2-out hit by pitch. Whatever he sees now, maybe someone else throwing it.
Yep. It's like Smith trying to come with that comeback fastball and just started it out too far inside. Never had a chance to come back.
The ball almost stuck right in Mitch's armpit.
Well, McClendon, a slow walk out there. And he is going to huddle with the entire infield, along with the catcher Sucre and Carson Smith. And he's going to stick with Smith, facing Elvis Andrus. 2 on with 2 outs. Rangers trailing by 2 here in the 8th inning. Elvis 0 for 1 against Carson Smith. Elvis tonight 1 for 3. Had a 4th inning single. Well, the Rangers have had some opportunities tonight. Have not been able to generate the timely big base hit.
Well, the bases loaded walk, but they couldn't get the bases loaded hit.
The fastball in for strike 1 to Elvis.
He's all over the place, and then the first pitch, Elvis is right down the middle. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Strasburger at second, Moreland at first. 0-1 the count. Elvis doing a pretty good job of laying off that slider. Carson Smith, who had played his college ball down in San Marcos at Texas State University. One ball and 2 strikes. Shot from right over the Mariners dugout. RF camera showing you various angles from around Globe Life Park. Smith studying the signs. Sucre flashing out a series. And now Smith ready. in the dirt. Nice stop by Sucre. 2-2 to Elvis. Runner infield, playing Elvis about straight away, if not a step to the left. See Seager, the third baseman, maybe a step and a dive off the line. Strasburger at second base, Moreland trailing him at first. Inside, 3-2, and now
that's a good thing.
With 2 outs, the runners will get a running start. Well, if Elvis can hit one in the gap, probably see Mitch be able to score. 3-2 with 2 outs. Elvis hitting 7th. Rougned Odor hoping to get a shot at Smith in the 8th inning. Crowd on their feet at Globe Life Park. Payoff pitch. Tapper out in front. Smith sidearm to first, and that will do it. Now the Rangers leave 2 aboard. They had a walk, an error, and a hit batter. Can't get it across. We'll go to the 9th inning. It remains the Mariners 3 and the Rangers 1. Mariners coming to bat here in the top of the 9th inning. Seth Smith will start things off against Jake Diekman. It'll be Smith, Morrison, and Miller. 3 up, the first 3 up against Jake. Jake came on and got a huge double play off of the bat of Robinson Cano. Then got a comebacker to end the inning.
Same spot where Andrew Faulkner came in with the 3 straight lefties. Of course, Jake's already been in there, but he's staying in to face these guys. Came in to face Cano, who was the left-hand hitter, got him to hit into a double play.
And Ross Oendorf loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Diekman gets a strike to Smith. He hits 1-1. Smith tonight has grounded into a double play twice. He was also struck out 0 for 3. And he's accounted for 5 outs. Breaking ball gets the inside corner, front door. Look. 1-2. Smith, a .248 hitter. Diekman back to it. Ball 3 is low. Right at the bottom of the strike zone, but just out of reach. No full count. Smith trying to get aboard to start off the 9th inning. Logan Morrison is in the on-deck circle. Diekman with a payoff pitch. Odor ranging to his left. One gone.
Well, that ball had some top spin on it,
Yeah.
didn't it? That last top, like it was gaining speed.
First baseman Logan Morrison.
No problem for Rugnet.
Nope.
Logan Morrison will be next. Morrison 0 for 2. He walked and scored back in the second inning. Second inning is when Seattle did all their damage. They had 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk in that frame against Giovanni Gallardo.
Yeah, you go back to that inning, and Giovanni gave up a couple of doubles, little ground balls right down the line. And on another blooper to left field that just fell in front of Knapp. So he gave up 3 runs on 3 hits in that inning. Did have a walk to start the rally, but none of the balls were hit hard. Pitching's been good tonight. They've scattered hits after that, but they bunched those softly hit balls together in that second inning, and it turned out to be very effective for him.
Diekman with an 0-2 advantage facing Logan Morrison. Mariners 3 runs on 10 hits tonight. Rangers 1 run on 6 hits. Mariners with the only error committed. The pitch just missed down and in. 1-2. Left-hander sets, back to the plate. Check swing, no swing. Chris Guccione. Now Jake with a 2-2. Chopped it right out in front of the plate. Beltre from the hip shoots him down.
Nice play all the way around. You can count on Mitch to convert the throw. A little bit offline in the dirt. He's coming up with it one way or the other.
Outfielder Brad Miller.
No, 2 outs now. And Adrian, probably the only guy in baseball that can make a throw like that and put it on the mark. Brad Miller 1 or 2 for 3 tonight. A single and a double. 1 ball and no strikes. Miller a .253 average as he faces Jake Diekman. Diekman back to the plate. And this is high and tight. Miller faced Diekman 1 other time. In that series in Seattle, 0 for 1. And that is low. 3-0. Yeah, Miller's able to get aboard here. Jesus Sucre, the catcher, is in the on-deck circle. Three and 1. Fly ball to left center, hit pretty well, but room out there for Delino to shield. Just barely on the warning track. That will do it. Diekman retires the Mariners in order. We're going to the bottom of the ninth at Globe Life Park. Rangers need a couple to tie. They have Odor, Wilson, and DeShields.
runs to tie. They need 3 to win, and we're keeping our fingers crossed here on the Rangers live set that we extend this thing just a little bit longer. After the game, no matter what happens, we will be here with you for a complete post-game wrap-up. It's me, John Radigan, Mark McLemore, Pudge Rodriguez, Emily Jones will work the clubhouse for us. We'll check in with Noxie. It's a Fireworks Friday, so we'll have fireworks after the game, no matter what. For now, guys, let's get it back over to you.
All right, John, maybe some fireworks here in the ninth inning. They have to do it against Tom Wilhelmsen, the closer now for the Seattle Mariners. Wilhelmsen in his 49th game of the year, ERA of 3.20. The league hitting .252 against the 31-year-old right-hander. And in the on-deck circle, Odor is leading off, but we see Josh Hamilton. Josh has been taking some swings the last couple of days and said he was feeling improved as far as his knee was concerned, coming back from that cleanup surgery. So Hamilton in the on-deck circle. But first, Rougned Odor will start things off against Wilhelmsen. And a fastball poured right through there for strike one. Odor tonight 0 for 3. He has grounded out twice and flied out. Wilhelmsen back to him. 1-1. Wilhelmsen 11 for 11 in save opportunities. Veteran right-hander worked 2 days ago against the Angels. Misses outside, 2-1. Odor has faced Wilhelmsen one other time. Had a base hit against him. 3-1. Rougned trying to get aboard. If he does, Josh Hamilton steps to the plate as a pinch hitter representing the tying run. 3-2. Rougned wagging that bat back and forth. Wilhelmsen reading the signs. The right-hander is ready. Payoff pitch is on the way. We'll try it again. Odor kind of shortened that swing up a little bit.
Just trying to make some contact.
Yep. Like to see something like that when you're down by 2 and your guys leading off the inning.
Need a base runner.
Another 3-2 pitch to Rougned. Call strike 3. And Odor is going to have a lot to say about that, but our Fox tracker would show you that was right at the bottom of the zone. Well, the cheer you hear from the throng here at Gold Light Park. Josh Hamilton's name just announced.
And
that's the pinch hitter.
A lot of fans came to the game tonight, probably not expecting to see Josh in the game. They've stuck around. Good to see Josh with his first at bat in a while.
Hamilton a .257 average. Takes strike 1. Last at bat that Hamilton had was back on the 4th of September. That was against the Angels. Last base hit he had was 2 days prior in San Diego off Craig Kimbrough. (1-1) from Wilhelmsen. Now 2-1. Liner to Shields, swinging a bat in that on-deck circle. 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Josh going after that 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Wilhelmsen. The right-hander back to the plate. Got him swinging. Well, Josh down on strikes. The Rangers now down to their last out, and it'll be the top of the order. And Delino to Shields to face Wilhelmsen.
Pretty good fastball by Wilhelmsen. He's got good stuff. I haven't seen his curveball. He's got a good curveball, but he's throwing changeups and fastballs, and that one had some tailing action right on the outside corner. Mid-90s fastball.
2 outs. Delino trying to figure a way to get on base. Get the tying run to home plate. Takes strike 1. Delino 0 for 1 against Wilhelmsen. The breaking ball, the appeal to first, no swing. Rory Blazer, the first base umpire. Steve Buechele, the acting manager. Shin-Soo Choo hoping to get an at-bat here tonight. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mariner outfield now really shifting around to the right. They are expecting Wilhelmsen to go with power and the Shield not to pull him. 2-2. 26,727 on hand here tonight. Pulling for a Ranger comeback. Extend that win streak to 6 straight. On a play. Delino this evening had a single back in the 5th inning. He's also flied out, grounded out, and struck out. 1 for 4, hitting at 253. Wilhelmsen ready, another 2-2 pitch. 3-2.
Just got to get a base runner, and then anything can happen.
Shin-Soo Choo adjusting those batting gloves, hoping to get a shot against Wilhelmsen tonight. Payoff pitch on the way. Popped up down the right field line. Coming on is Smith, and just in fair territory makes the catch, and that'll do it. So Wilhelmsen gets his 12th save. He sends the Rangers down in order, and the Rangers' 5-game win streak has come to an end at the hands of the Seattle Mariners. 3-1 the final, as Danny Farquhar got the win tonight. And Giovanni Gallardo takes the loss. Our TXU Energy power player tonight, Shin-Soo Choo. 3 for 4 for Choo tonight. He has 10 hits in his last 13 at-bats for the Rangers. Hotter than a Texas summer night. Choo just smoking it all over the yard. Shin-Soo Choo, our TXU Energy power player. We'll be back with more back here at Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.